Long ago, in a faraway fairy castle called Carnation Palace, there were two fairy twins named after flowers. Chrysanthemum and Gladiolus were both magnificent and powerful, but they are far different from each other when it comes to attitude. Chrysanthemum is respectful, kind, and crowd favorite, while Gladiolus is bad, selfish, and shunned by others. One day, while Chrysanthemum was sitting in her room, humming and brushing her hair, their mother arrived with a bunch of gold bars carried by the palace guards. She called her daughter Chrysanthemum, and suddenly Gladiolus heard her mother calling her sister, so she hurriedly came out and said, "Won't you also call me to share in that gold?" Chrysanthemum arrived and took a glance at the treasure. "What was this for, Mom?" Gladiolus replied to her. "Can't you see? Those golds are Mother's gift to us." "Yes, these gold are my birthday present for the two of you," their mother groaned. "But we don't need much of that gold. This palace and fairies who believe in us, especially you and your endless love, would be enough presents for us," Chrysanthemum insisted. Gladiolus felt irritated, like she didn't seem to be part of their conversation. Since childhood, she often felt it, the intense jealousy towards her twin. She became greedy on power and selfish. She always wanted a fight. That night, Gladiolus was thinking of a dark plan on how she's going to steal that bunch of gold from their mother's room. Gladiolus already developed a plan and changed her look using magic to pretend like Chrysanthemum. Even his voice was changed so as not to be caught by the palace guard. When she was about to enter the queen's room, the guard asked, "Princess Chrysanthemum, what brings you here at this late hour?" Gladiolus replied in a soft voice, "Shh! Mother told me to come at this moment to get all the golds I wanted and leave by far so that my twin will never know where I am, for she will never hurt me again." The guard let her in. In a minute, she stole all the golds and put them in a magical bag, in which the weight of gold became light as a cotton. While her mother was sleeping, she made the magical bag float out of the window, and she floated too, to follow that so that she could make any noise. She floated far away with a magical bag full of treasure and changed into her real identity as Gladiolus. "Ha ha 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 ha! Finally, I could build my own castle made of gold and become the most powerful queen," she said in an evil tone. Using her own magic, she built a castle made of gold with complete rooms just like their palace. Every corner truly shines with beauty and elegance. She happily lives her own life in the castle. Until one day, a prince-like man passed by and peeked from outside the castle. Gladiolus came out, and from there, their good friendship began, which eventually turned into love. They planned their wedding without fully knowing each other and without the consent of their families. On the wedding day, Gladiolus waited for her groom, and her nightmare began, when the man she loved turned into an ugly witch while walking towards her. "The impersonation is over. Wake up to a beautiful dream and face the real nightmare," the witch shouted. Gladiolus was stunned and seemed to soften as she stood unable to believe that the prince she loved the most was just a fantasy. The ugly witch laughed out loud and said, "You are so blinded by desperate love. Just for a short period of time you've fallen out quickly. Oh, well, I became desperate too when I saw this golden palace, so I disguised as a charming prince to make you fall, my dear," the witch added. Gladiolus could not believe that he had been deceived by a witch and that she knew the witch was about to seize her palace. Gladiolus gave all her power to fight against the witch, but she was defeated by it. "If I had just listened and appreciated my mom and sister, I wouldn't have ended like this. I miss my twin Chrysanthemum," Gladiolus uttered while she was about to close her eyes. When Gladulus regained consciousness, she saw who was fighting for her against the witch, her mother and her twin sister. They combined their power to win against the ugly witch. Gladulus, are you okay? Does anything hurt? Chrysanthemum said while holding her sister's back and helping to stand up. But how did you find me? Gladulus asked in puzzled. We didn't stop to search for you, our dear Gladulus, their mother replied her. We've been so worried since you left in our palace. We do not stop to search until your twin chrysanthemum feels your presence that you are in danger. So here we are, explained her mother. Gladiolus deeply regrets what she has done. She apologized to her twin and hugged her tight, saying, I love you, my twin, and I'm really sorry for being an evil sister to you. Chrysanthemum whispered, It's okay, my twin. Apologize accepted because I love you even more. The three of them returned to their palace and they lived happily ever after.